Hi, guys. And straight from the studio of the CEO World Record, today I am presenting the Yvette Watson, whom I met, I believe, like 3 weeks ago, maybe even 2 weeks ago, online on LinkedIn. And I instantly thought that she, with her extensive background, she just has to be onboarded to this epic historical event. So, welcome, Yvette.
Thank you so much for this beautiful introduction, Laura. And I'm impressed by you as well.
Well, you deserve all of that. So, let's get familiar with who you are and what do you stand for. If you could just let us know into your world and share with us, what we should know about you and even a couple of companies, as I understand, you are curating.
Yes, of course. Well, my urge to make an impact on the world became very early in my early years. So when I was really little, 7, 8 years old, I joined Greenpeace, and I was quite activistic on environmental change and or environmental impact, but also our social structure. I was always really fond of my families, and my grandmother is my big yeah, leading woman for
Like
me in my life.
example, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She led the women's movement of right to vote in the early, I think it was early 20s in England. So, and she did this with a lot of power. And even when she was 98 years old, uh, she made it happen that in her neighborhood there came lamps, lights for in the night, right? So, and then she was 98 years old. So
Oh,
she's
wow.
a powerful woman, and she learned me that big change can be made with only little steps at a time, and that everyone can play a role in the change they want to see in the world. So this is where I began very young to think of what do I want, how do I want to see, look at the world, or what want the world to be. Um, and then in the years that I was growing up, 16 and stuff, and you want to be cool, and so I had a lot of trouble on, do I want to be an activist, or do I want to engage people and inspire people? And I chose for the second one in the end. So not being an activist, but being someone that leads people to a change and leads people to more prosperity, a better quality of life, actually. And the one thing I'm really worried about every day when I go to bed and every day when I wake up is environmental change. So this is where in my studies I focused on within real estate and facilities management. I've been working in that field for 12 years, from just being a co-worker to being a head of a department. And I finished my studies on circular, or in that time it was cradle to cradle and real estate and facilities management. And now, of course, we're talking a lot more about circular economy. And this is where I started my first company in, together with my business partner, Geerke Versteeg. She's a really powerful leader as well, and CEO. She is the CEO of our first company now. And we're still 50-50%. We have the both companies, but we divided our attention a little bit. And the first company is helping organizations in the Netherlands to bring these high over ambitions, like net positive, right? Paul Pullman, he wrote a
Yeah.
book, and now we all want to be net positive, which is really cool. But what does it mean in practical? So, what are you going to do tomorrow differently than you did yesterday? And what is your roadmap to towards 2030, right? And what will you have achieved then? And how will you bring that into practice? So, we measure everything. LCA experts, life cycle analysis experts, for the ones that don't know the meaning of LCA. And we are doing lots of projects in behavioral change. So, how to engage large groups of people on this topic. So then we thought, this is really cool. This is the one company, right? We're doing great stuff, but it's all going too slow. So we, this is why we founded our second company, the To Be Collective. and we love fun, and we think people are much easier to change their way of work or to adapt new solution when they have fun. So we designed a gamified learning platform to for large groups of people to learn and then to bring into practice what they've just learned in small challenges, small steps. So make it practical. What are you going to do differently because you've learned this, and then you're going to do that, and then share it in like a small Facebook-like environment where you can like each other's ideas and cooperate with each other, collaborate. So this is the To Be Collective, and that's where I'm CEO from
Wow.
for now.
I have to try that one. We spoke about that. Gosh, I
So
have
cool.
so many questions. The first one, which is like coming through me, I just imagine you at that 7 years old and your grandmother. And I was just thinking, how that sometimes in life we I kind of born with certain privileges, right? Like having a grandmother as yours, or I being born here in Lithuania, not some other place. So, and what I love so much it is that you use that privilege in a kind of natural way. It's an organic way, and look at you, my God, that level of potency you have and the energy and the it's shining through you. So it's one of the criterias, how I scan people and see, do they really have this oneness, in their heartbeat of what they do, and those sparkling eyes. And you you instantly had that even when I spoke with you in the car, so amazing. Yeah, thank you, grandmother, like literally. Right. So,
Yeah,
and with you, all of your profound background, Yvette, circular economies, and being able and having that skill set of taking big organizations from seeing like very narrow, very like limited eye and this egocentric boundaries, and expanding the world, and as well with the other company, what is maybe the most frequent advice, um, or the question, maybe, yeah, what is the most frequent question people are asking you in your career, and what do you like, what's your advice to them?
yeah. Well, I get a lot of different kind of questions about sometimes about how can I get my organization to be more sustainable, but also how can I engage all my employees, and also a lot of times people in high positions are looking for new jobs because they want to contribute towards doing good instead of doing less bad. So because when you work in an oil company and you want to improve, you're doing less bad, right? Because it starts with just quitting with oil altogether. But so I also see a lot of job changing, job quitting, conscious quitting,
Okay.
we call it. And people ask me a lot on so what kind of jobs can I look for then? What is there in the market? So how does this whole sustainability movement work? And the thing is, where I get really happy from, there are a lot of different kind of jobs within sustainability, from advisory sides, but also within a corporate, also on product making, in circular economy, right? It's
Mhm.
in the Netherlands, it's thriving, so this is really cool. And so this is one of the questions. And of course, the other question is, how do I start with sustainability? And I say, start with a baseline and then get the whole group together, get your company together, because there is a lot of intellectual opportunities. I said there's a lot of intellectual capacity within a
Mhm.
company. Everyone is an expert of their own work. So everyone is
Absolutely.
capable of thinking of smarter ways how to do stuff. And so have a baseline, know where you want to go, put a very clear ambition. And net zero is or net positive is a really great ambition. But
Mhm.
what does it? Uh, what does it mean? Make it more concrete, and then fill the gap between how you are now and what you want to be in 2030 or 2050, and then fill it in with all the employees. I think that's the
Mm.
most powerful.
Yeah, it is this change process, but what I wasn't even aware about this kind of, conscious quitting in the sense from the perspective when people feel the inner conflict probably with their own integrity. That's the way I kind of, filter. And then, they probably not, they don't, they can't even longer bear that lie for themselves. But what I feel, it's kind of good, that they finally make that choice and make that uncomfortable but very necessary decision and move forward. And
Yeah.
already you with advising them, from what you just told me. I mean, it's such a major impact, because I believe sometimes, you don't probably even know um, how much effect you have on on their decision, because it's moving them forward. You wanted to say something, right, Yvette?
No, it's, and I think,
Yeah.
yeah, well, I can add that I think that conscious quitting is also a very good thing. So I talked to the CEO of Deloitte yesterday from the Netherlands, and on a event we had, and she also said, I'm also sometimes proud if someone says, okay, I'm going to quit here and I'm going to work for this startup, which in circular economy, because I can really, oh, everything I learned here, I can really help this concept or this company to come further. So it's also a nice way to look at that someone
Mhm.
uses everything they've learned for the next step,
Yeah,
and
taking
that's for the
the
good.
luggage with. All right, so let's move to the world record question. And you can then think, from either both companies or just, who you are. So, how is the world better off because you're both companies now that are in it?
Yeah. Um, oh, I really hope that every minute of my life, the world is going to be better off. I'm really trying to make it as valuable as I can. I think for the first company, the Five Factory, we are really good in creating new concepts and turning the supply chain totally around, and to make it valuable for future proof. So we're showing the Netherlands, not the world, because we're really locally focused with this company. We can show the world that it's possible, that things are possible, that we have to put our minds to it, and technical everything is possible. We can operate through our veins, right? We can dig goals on Mars. Come on, we can make a future-proof system, and we're trying to prove that with little steps and with nice examples that are really practical and you can see them. And for the To Be Collective, and this is where I personally put every minute of the day I have in, because this is what this has to offer is skill. So with our gamified learning platform, we can easily service 10,000 people at the same time on improving. So a whole company, a whole collective. We also do neighborhood challenges where everyone streets are playing against each other on improving or making their houses more sustainable, right? And making their neighborhood more green. And this is so cool. This is so what I really, really hope is to reach 2 billion people before 2030, to really create the mindset change of this whole population on how to take responsibility and to take action on making their lives and their working lives more sustainable. So also their role in their organizations, right? Because there I think is the real flywheel.
Mm. Yeah, I can. I see that sentence in front of me. It's very calculable, and the one you've got is just so good. I think that it's one of the, for me, for our team, what was so powerful once we've said something, like is that really possible? But then, once you kind of allow yourself to be that brave and audacious, again, something is changing within one's body and energy, and then suddenly all of these, yeah, as you say, opportunities are flowing and coming. And I really, really, I don't, hope. I just know that you're gonna, guys, hit that, because you
Me
have that
too.
within you. You have that within you.
And
All right.
the thing is,
Mhm.
just let me add a small
Sure. Okay.
thing. Uh, I really believe that most people want to change to a more sustainable life and work style. So I think most of the people want sustainability. If I ask you, do you want a sustainable world or don't you? Then everyone, well, nearly everyone, most of the people always say, yes, I want this sustainable world. So the thing is not to convince people. People know
Mhm.
that we need to change. The thing is to facilitate and to help them how to. And this is why I also think our platform is really contributing in the change, because people are looking for ways as we speak. We know it's urgent, and
Mhm.
um, and I want to make it available for everyone. So, and in the end, it should be cost free. It should be from society. It should be just a way how we use Facebook.
Yeah, and as you said, it's like an evidence, right? And our brain needs that, because our still brain is this zipped with a linear mindset. So we need that, evidence. And but I've got another question, because I live in a house, and I try, like, consciously, from my little understanding or narrow understanding, to produce as little, bad things to our planet as possible. And like, if we focus, if I could ask an advice from you, Yvette, like, what, like, within the household, where, like, I am working remotely most of the time, what could be the things I could, start doing in a daily life, um, as a mother,
Well,
with kids and a dog, and
yeah, if you look at the biggest impact on your environmental impacts in your life, it's not your house. The
Mhm.
largest impact is the stuff you buy. So
Yes.
electronics and stuff, the far out the largest impact. So reuse and buy secondhand stuff and like vintage, right? Don't buy new clothes. It's a horrible industry. It's so try to share, to do secondhand, to reuse, to endure lifespan. I think that's the most important thing we should look at. I haven't bought new clothes in 3 years now. And I told you yesterday I could wear a really cool outfit from a designer who was totally circular, but I borrowed it. But that's really nice. So think of other stuff. The thing is, if we
Mhm.
draw a line, we say, okay, we're not going to buy new stuff anymore. You will invent ways of to experience beautiful stuff, but in a different way. We don't need to own everything. So we
Yeah.
can share, we can secondhand. Well, so that's one. The second is we
Mhm.
should really change our mobility. We should, I think cars are eventually out of the equation. We should do everything with more, public transport.
Bicycle, right, and sharing something,
And
right, and
sharing
mhm.
systems. So there are cars, but we'll share them because now 89%, no, 98% of the cars are standing still, right? In a place somewhere,
Yeah, like
doing
mine
nothing and
right
just
now. Yeah. Mhm.
exactly being a horrible view, right? Because it's not really
Yeah, yeah.
nice to look at 100 cars in a street.
Yeah.
So we have to be more clever about this. So you can change your own lifestyle. I don't have a car. I don't fly anymore. I do everything by train and a little folding bike because, well, in Holland, we're really fond of biking,
Yeah,
right?
that's
A
what
little
you
folding
do,
bike.
guys. Yeah.
It's this big when I fold it, and then I can bring it
Amazing.
everywhere.
Oh,
And
that's cool. Uh-huh.
then there is of course also your house, and we really need to not use fossil fuels anymore. And but there are a lot of experts on that to tell you what you should do in your house, because every house is different, of course. So I can't give you straight advice for that, but I think these are the three. Oh, and consumption, food. So
Food. Okay.
leave out the animal eiwitten. I
Yeah.
don't know how to say it in English.
Yeah, it's
Um,
the animal. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
and
it's so
all
unproductive.
animals, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not
yes.
cool. It's
No.
if we look at our collective consciousness, they're in it too, and they're having a horrible time. So quit it. But also for the environment, it's super inefficient food.
Mm.
And I think we should make vegetarian and vegan food more interesting. So we should experiment, and there should be more cooks on telling us how to create sexy meals from vegetables.
Oh, I
So
love that.
and
So
these,
there's more taste, right, and dynamic. Yeah. Oh, that's four things. I consciously ask because, as you say, like within the companies, when we want to think about that, I would feel that it's probably for me it would be easier to start within my own world and then bringing that, like further and further and further as the impact. But what I will definitely think about it is to turn a piece of land I've got besides my house to something that grows and can be eatable. So
nice. That's the
thank you,
positive
Yvette.
side. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, and let's go deeper into your into you as a human and as this conscious leader, female leader of who you are. uh, I know that there are days, despite the level of energies I've got and the level of belief I've got, where I have some dark days where I would say that it's not often, but it happens when I somehow disconnect or feel disconnected with this biggest audacious impact of mine, due to many, many reasons. And then I have certain rituals where, I've been looking for certain formula to get myself kind of back on track. And so what I want to ask it is, do you have those dark kind of moments where you feel disconnected, or gray moments? And what do you do? Like, what type of rituals you've got as a person to bring yourself back?
Yeah, um I think I really have them very rarely. The when I can have a dark moment is when, for example, the new IPCC report came out and stated that we're really heading towards mankind destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm wondering if what I'm doing is enough, and if I'm like a donkey shocked running around, and is it helping? And so I do it, but I have that, I think, once a year or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Furthermore, I'm more the opportunistic, positive entrepreneur that is just taking steps and doing it like my grandmother said, handling big problems with little steps at the time. So I'm always looking at the little steps. And the thing that really helps us with both companies is that we follow the Rockefeller habits. And I don't know if you
Hmm.
know them.
No, please
Uh,
share with me.
it's
Share.
a system. Vern Harnish researched the Rockefeller family for a long time, for 10 years, I think. And he came up with the method, what they do, and how were they successful for such a long time? What is it, what these guys do? And so he came up with a framework, the Rockefeller habits, that helps you with putting out there your big, audacious, hairy goal. So this great ambition you have, 2 billion people before 2030. This is our ambition. But then you break it down to, okay, what is then needed in
Hmm.
these, well, for us, it's now 18 months, and then it's 2030. So we only have 18 months to change. 80 months. And then we break it down in, okay, what do we then need to do in the first 40 months? What
Hmm.
does it mean for this year? And every year we have a strategy day with the whole company, and we state, and of course me and my business partner, we make the beginning, we set the boundaries, And then together we decide on, okay, what is the ambition for this year that contributes to our big audacious goals? So we need to get there. So what then do we need to do this year? And that breaks down in 4 quarterlies. And this is where you handle also, okay, have we done this in the quarterlies? And the quarterly breaks down in 3 monthlies, and the monthly breaks down in 4 weeklies, and the weeklies break down in 5 dailies.
Love
So
that.
every day, what everyone
Every day.
does contributes to our big audacious hairy goal. So it's pretty clear for every employee.
Very
Everyone
clear.
knows what they're contributing towards the goal, and everyone knows what needs to be done today. And we also have every morning we start. Did it work yesterday? Did you get your stuff done? Was it? Did you the most important thing that you need to have got done? Was it done? Yes. Okay. What is the most important thing of today? Okay, great. Where do you need help with? That's also the question we ask each other.
Mhm.
So it's a very
Like being
smart
accountable,
way of
like, yeah.
us
Uh-huh.
getting everything together, or maybe say, okay, yeah, I know something. Let's call later, and then but you make yourself st- ready for the day, right? You're making yourself totally ready to bring the
Absolutely.
best out of
Yeah.
you.
And kind of really anchored to this biggest audacious impact and not losing that, because the entire world record was like when I was sitting and trying to design that process, that what that second question was like all about, like what are those rituals that keep people anchored so they are not losing this bigness, but at the same time, anchoring that so beautifully into the daily jobs. And you just explained that without me even asking that question. How many years you've been practicing this framework?
From the start, so 8 years now.
Okay. Okay. So in the 8 years, Yvette, could you elaborate like more? How does your team like work together? Have you ever felt the moments where, you thought, okay, right now I need the org chart. Right now we need some type of, more like a linear approach. I wouldn't say command and control because I don't believe that it's possible within your team and with you as a leader. Could you elaborate around that?
Um, yeah, so I think we have different approach from a linear company or like a more conventional
Mhm.
company, because we do everything a little bit different. Also, how we approach our employees or our colleagues, I always call them. I don't even call them employees. I think that our people are our capital. So when they do well, when they feel well, when they are happy, our company thrives. So we're doing a lot in empowering our people. We coach them, not ourselves. We have
Mhm.
they're far better experts at that outside of our company, so everyone can have their own coach, their own counseling if they want to. They can get as many trainings they want, and we every half a year we discuss in a really long meeting. So either it's a lunch or it's even a dinner, a 4 hour meeting on, okay, how we're going to help you to be the best version of yourself, and where do you want to get in those years. So also with the Rockefeller habits, we're using this on our it's the personal Rockefeller habits. It's also in that system. So we're also using that for our colleagues to really thrive. And a big question in there is also, okay, when will you leave us? And it's not on trying to hold them back, but it's
No.
on how can we empower you as much, and when are we not enough anymore? So how can you grow out of us? Because then we know that all the time you have been with us, you have been the maximum of you at that moment. And this is what we want to create. So it's also looking differently at how working together. And we are really involving everyone in, so not only on working in our business, but also working on our company. So really creating more stability, growing together, because we know also, me and my business partner Geerke, we know we are our own ceiling. So our ceiling is the ceiling of the company. So if we grow, we as a person also, we do the same stuff we let
Yeah, agree.
our colleagues do, we do themselves too. We have also coaching and stuff, and we really look, we also hold up the mirror. Are we doing as good as we can and trying the best? So I think that's also creating this culture together. I think that's important for us. And we, so, or the benefits they get, there, everything is not there's no how you say this in English?
Say it in Dutch. Maybe I'll grasp that.
Yeah, um, um, I'll come back to that later, but
That's okay. Yeah.
nothing is invested with oil, right? So
Oh,
we're doing
okay.
all the
Hmm.
insurances and everything. We've all figured it out that everything is contributing to good and not to bad. And you can have as many vacation days as you want. So we have unlimited vacation days because I really believe in that everyone functions in a different way. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
the one person wants to work really hard for 6 hours and then one wants to lay at the beach, and the other person wants to work a little bit more slowly, and the other person wants to work be totally free on holiday and not open their phones, and the other one wants to go very much longer on holiday, wants to work in Portugal for a few months and then also work. So everyone function in a different way, so we want to really tailor make that also on our
Mm.
colleagues.
I'm just, so lucky. That's what I was feeling, that I made a decision to do this world record and meet now every day people like you, because I am growing literally for listening to your story, and I'm getting goosebumps. That's
That's
amazing, and everyone who will be listening to your story and how you are um, consciously, um, you know, placing the or creating the behavior and the thinking about colleagues and human beings as such is just it's just so much love and grace, but at the same time, a lot of as well this pragmatic entrepreneurship in the place anchored to your biggest audacious impact is just so beautifully woven. um, but what I would love to ask, because we are both females, and what you mentioned that the ceiling, right? That there is this sometimes, like I did. I for a couple of years ago, I really felt like, there was this ceiling somewhere above me, that it's like I'm flying, and there are wings, but in a way I'm not moving my my wings. And um yeah, how do you feel that? I know it's very unique to every human being, but like how do you realize that, okay, there is this ceiling?
yeah. um so I think I totally believe that everything is possible, so I never feel a ceiling for me, but I feel where I have my shortcomings,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the ceiling, it's your own
Hmm.
shortcomings. And this is where both me and Geerke are working on a lot to overcome your shortcomings and to create more prosperity in your own thinking and widen your thinking. And because so I do see there are ceilings, and of course in the corporate world there are also very much ceilings for women, and that's still happening.
Mm.
um, so I don't want to disregard that. But I think for us, because we are entrepreneurs, you are your own ceiling. So the ceiling is what you are not believing that is possible. So, and it's where you're holding yourself back, or it's where you are not totally comfortable, or where you, well, so, and this, but this you can handle. So if you look at that and see
Mhm.
where that comes from, and how to work with it, and how to make it lighter, or how to change your whole view on it, I think that's what we're busy with a lot of the
A
day,
lot.
me and my business
Mhm.
partner, to
Mhm.
create, um, yeah, more
Yeah, and I
development for a company.
and I think what's so great about, you and your business partner, because we as well with Vilma together, it is, you can, like, from what I feel, it is that we every morning we're walking our dogs. I walk by the seaside. She walks either now in Crete or in the forest, and we have a phone call. And that phone call is sometimes, half an hour, sometimes even an hour. And it has this depth of reflections and this, as you say, amplifying each other's thinking and like really imagining that we have bases and we're breaking our own limitations or even ideas to just breaking in that and then coming up with something completely new. So yeah, having a partner probably, yeah, it helps a lot for me to notice at a
Mm.
time, right? Because you can really sit alone with that ceiling and have your rituals like daily life, and then you just push that away, in a way, and then the time is going and then the life suddenly is gone. And I have the last
Yeah,
question
and can
for
I
you.
add
Yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah, sure.
Can I add a small thing? Because what helps us as well, and we're really lucky that that we found each other, is the diversity in each other's
Mm.
characters. Because we have the same view on how the world should look like. We have the same background, so our language we can understand each other very easily. But then everything in between is differently. Because she is structured, she is decisive, she is a really good project manager. She's the best in the world, I think. She can make anything happen.
So
It's
good.
it's true. Manifestation through the max. And then I am creative. I am analytical. I am reflective. I am like the opposite side of her. I'm not structured. I'm chaos. But that's a good thing because I can see new opportunities in this chaos, right? But then together, then when every day I have new ideas and I tell her them, and then she would ask me 10 difficult questions, and then the next day if she still thinks it's a good idea, the next day there will be a plan of action in our email, right? And then we just have all these colleagues who are executing everything we think of. And so diversity is a really important thing in your company too. And this is diversity in men and women, but it's also diversity in characters and in beliefs also. And it's also diversity in cultures and diversity in countries. And we can only
Mm.
solve these really big problems we have, or challenges, if you want to put it like that, only with diversity. We can't solve these complex problems with a
Alone.
linear, one way, one vision kind of. It's not possible. So I really applaud for diversity
Oh,
as well.
it's just wonderful, wonderful. And I really hope that more people from various countries will join the world record so we can really break that glass ceilings, like country wise. And the last question, I have to read this because it's so powerful. It really makes me think. If you were lying on your deathbed, what three things would you want to have achieved in life, Yvette?
It is a powerful question because,
It's from
first of
the,
all,
yeah, continue. I'll share whose question is that.
ah, first of all, I'm thinking of my son. I want to have to be the best mom I can be for my son. I think, and for the generations that he will bring to the world. I think that's the first and utmost importance. To have a really nice impact, and that's, I think, number two. To have a really good impact on your close worlds. It's something we have a great big influence on, and sometimes we forget to to make an effort and I'm trying to be aware of that every day, to be also the best, to create the best impact on my close environment. And then thirdly, I would say, to reach 2 billion people, to change the mindset for a more sustainable world for tomorrow.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. So that was the question of Dr. Ranjan Chatterjee, and it was from Stephen Bartlett's um, The Diary of a CEO, my favorite podcast.
Wow, so cool.
Wonderful, Yvette. Well, thank you so much for being in this first world record attempt. Thank you. You made amazing difference.
Thank you, Laura. And thank you for doing this first world time record because I think it's really bold. You have a bold ambition here. And I really hope you will achieve. And if you need any help with something, please tell me because I will support this with everything I can and
Amazing.
get it out there. You're doing such a great job.
Oh
Well
my
done.
God. Amazing, amazing. Thank you, thank you.